Hello again, good people. Thank you for tuning in to episode 22 of The Doc is In, and it's the second day of our fan request series. Whoop, whoop. So, one of the videos that got quite a bit of views and I got a lot of email about, as well as like just responses and stuff, was the weight loss video. Me kind of sharing my battle, my struggle with weight loss. And a lot of people ask about the weight loss surgery, like when I had it, where I had it, all that good stuff. And I want to share the things that I wish I knew about weight loss surgery before I had it, of course. So, as I mentioned in the previous video, I had weight loss surgery on December 17th. I'm going on about 10 or 11 weeks out, and it's been really cool. But there are some things that I wish I knew. As I mentioned, I had my surgery at HCA Houston Healthcare Kingwood with Dr. Garay. He was a pretty amazing guy. And I went through all of the normal intro stuff. You know, you have to get insurance approval, so you have to do certain things, lose a certain amount of weight, that kind of thing. And it was really cool. I feel like having it, I did everything as transparently as I could. I made sure that my coworkers knew, my family knew, everyone. If they asked, yeah, I'm having it, no big. I did that very intentionally because I feel like a lot of people try and hide it, but in hiding it, what you're gonna do is set yourself up to not have enough support in the aftermath. So what I did was I went ahead and had the surgery, and came out of it. And afterwards, I realized like there are a lot of changes that take place that no one really mentioned, and I really want to kind of share some of those with you. So for me, number one, like let me say this first off before I even hit number one. A lot of people talk about like being in pain or like gas pains and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, maybe it's just the way they did it, or I don't know, but I felt no pain. I had some really awesome folks, like my nurses. Their names are Ashley and Obi. Ashley was my day nurse and Obi was my night nurse. They were freaking awesome. From the time I got out of surgery up until the time I left, I had Ashley that day, Obi that night, and then Ashley the next day. And they were freaking amazing. I also had Miss Jackie was my tech, and she's also freaking amazing. I appreciated them so much because, you know, they were really attentive to me. They made sure that I was, you know, not in any pain. They made sure that I was feeling okay. You know, they walked me through the whole liquid diet to, you know, full liquids part. And the first steps that I took that night, the first time I walked after surgery, Obi actually walked with me around the unit, and it was really cool of him. So thanks, Obi. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, Miss Jackie. Um, being being there, I think after surgery, you initially get those feelings of like, oh my God, what did I just do? And for me, it wasn't because I was in any pain. It was like drinking water, just like a sip of water was almost feeling like too much. And it was like, you have to drink, you know, drink a sip every 15 minutes or what have you. So I knew this was coming, so I just tried to, you know, make it work. Um, that that first day after surgery, I remember being a little groggy because of the pain meds, but all in all, good. By the next day, I was like, okay, ready to go home now. I'm good. Like, let's get on out of this hospital. Um, so, like, my nephew, my oldest nephew, came to get me. My G right there. Brought me back home, and I was okay. Like, I remember being home and just like hearing my doctor say, you got to keep walking, you got to walk outside, walk around the house. And then by the next day, I was walking to the mailbox 3 or 4 times a day. And I felt great. Like, honestly, the surgery, the recovery, that part was amazing. It was really, to me, it felt very simple. The one thing that I was unprepared for are some of the physiological changes as well as the emotional changes that happen. So, one of the first things was for me the whole food hiccups thing. Oh man, that was getting on my nerves so bad. I would drink some water and I'd get hiccups. I would eat something very small, like I'd like drink some soup, hiccups, and it would just happen every time. And it's slowed up now. I rarely get hiccups at all now, but man, for those first like 3 or 4 days, I would have hiccups like on and off just repeatedly, and it got on my nerves so bad. Um, from there, I think although you're learning to eat smaller as you lead up to surgery, I don't think that anything can really prepare you for how to eat in moderation the way you're supposed to post surgery. So again, the dietitian was really awesome, was amazing as far as like giving really visual examples of, hey, this is all you're going to be able to eat. This is all your stomach can really hold. So please make sure that you're adhering to this. Um, and again, I've always been a visual eater, so I'm gonna put boku food on the plate, and it's like in my mind, I can still eat what I was eating before, but 2 or 3 bites in, it's like I can't, and I know I can't. Um, so it's a weird feeling because it can make you feel a little frustrated, but at the same time, for those like myself who acknowledge what this is, it's like, man, I'm grateful I can't eat that much. It's awesome. It's great. But at the same time, initially, it becomes a little frustrating while you're trying to figure it out. Um, One of the things is the emotional changes. Like, no lie, I think like maybe a day or two after surgery, this was around Christmas time, so they had a lot of those Make a Wish Foundation commercials on. And there was this one particular commercial where like the kid has cancer, but we don't know that until like we see him like granting wishes for the other kids, and then someone takes his hat, and then you find out like, oh, he has cancer too, and his wish was that he could grant the other kids wishes. So that commercial came on, and I literally cried for like 5 minutes, and I had no idea why. Um, I was finding myself, and even now to some extent, I find myself being so emotional over things that are so random. Like I was watching adoption stories, and those were making me cry. I was watching stories of kids who like saved their siblings. That made me cry, and it was like, what in the world is going on? I never cried this much. But I realized that when you sublimate your emotions however you do it, be it with food or shopping or whatever, when your main coping is taken away, you really do have all those emotions well up at one time and overflow on you. So I know that usually for most insurance companies, they only really require like one therapy session before you go into surgery. I would suggest you do as many as you possibly can to like work on whatever emotional baggage you have, work on whatever emotions you've been pushing down. Because if you don't, you will be one of the most emotional people ever when surgery has happened. Um, Another thing is finding alternative coping. For a lot of people, when they do weight loss surgery, your next coping becomes shopping because you're losing the weight. You can buy new clothes, all these things you can do now that maybe you couldn't do before. But remember, you don't want to put yourself into financial exigency because you're not eating anymore. So just think about like, what else can I do? Maybe it's the gym. Maybe the gym can become your new coping. Maybe it can be, I don't know, gardening, journaling, writing, whatever works for you, but find something new that is healthy that allows you to cope, because I promise you, you will need something. You will need something to help you cope. One of the things in terms of like emotional and mental changes that takes place is you notice like when you go out, if if you think about it, if you're meeting people and whatnot, you tend to go out. Most people just celebrate things with food or get to know people over food. And so it can be really weird when you always have to kind of explain, like, oh, well, I just had weight loss surgery, so I really can't eat that way. or I can't eat that much, or I can't eat these things. Again, I'm in the South. Bread, rice are huge here, and anything fried. So yeah, it's weird to have to say like, oh, I can't eat that because I had weight loss surgery. Um, as you guys know, I recently got back from Cuba, and Cubans are very much like Southern families, where if they serve you food and you don't eat it, it's kind of like it's something wrong. And I found myself even before the food comes having to say, listen, I just had surgery, so I'm not gonna eat all of what you're serving me. It doesn't mean I don't like it. I think it's excellent, but I just can't eat it. Um, so little things like that to me were the things that I wish I had thought about or I knew about beforehand. My list is very minimal by comparison to some of the things that I've heard other people say. I did my best to adhere to what the doctor asked of me. Make sure that you're taking your vitamins. That's a huge one. I accidentally left out the calcium supplements, and I began having these weird muscle cramps. So yeah, make sure you're taking your vitamins the way you're supposed to. And just also make sure that you have support. Make sure that the people around you are holding you accountable and that they are aware of what's going on. I always tell people I'm lucky, man. I have one of the best families in the whole wide world. I'll fight you if you say I'm saying otherwise. Um, I love my family. They're so supportive and they're so, all behind you if you decide to do something. But not only my biological family, but my work family. Having my work family know what's going on is really awesome because they automatically know how to do things differently for me, and they understand the things that I have to do differently and that I can't do as a result of the surgery. And they also hold me accountable. In real life, who sees you more than the people that you work with, unless you have someone that lives with you, because they see you at least 40 hours out of the week. My biological family doesn't even see me that often. So, like, being able to have those people who hold me accountable and who will see me every day, and if they see me doing something I'm not supposed to be doing, they will call me out on it, and I love them for it. I love them so much for it. Um, Again, working in a hospital, it's so great to have those people around who you can ask questions to, and who know what's going on. And the fact that my surgeon is in the hospital where I work, and he will see me, and I know that he will see me, and I'm like, nope, can't have him catching me slipping. So it's really cool to have that support. And I mean, I'm really grateful to my family, my work family, to everyone who's been so supportive. Like, it's really awesome just to have that kind of love, and those kind of people behind you. It means a lot. um I think I talked about everything that was pertinent that I could think of. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. Love yourself, love each other. Man, we'll all be better for it. Have a good one.